Welcome to self-discoverywisdom.com, formerly known as Self-Discovery Media. On these podcasts, you're going to hear people who speak from the heart. They've taken the journey in life. Many things have happened to them, but they've changed it to happening for them. And in their strength, their courage, they've discovered their abilities and their wisdom, and they are now sharing it here with you. Do enjoy each show. We bring it to you with love and knowing that it's going to help you on your journey of life. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of Choose Positive Living right here on selfdiscoverywisdom.com. I'm your host, Sarah Troy. My guest today is Stephen Polomchak, and we're going to be talking about his company, which is Positive Living Awakening. It's all about kind of waking us up to the beautiful possibilities that we have, all about being positive and living in that, infusing it into our lives, and just allowing ourselves to actually see the sunny side of the street and how to grow into that. And he has wonderful programs and an innovative approach to everything, which is what we're going to be talking about today. He says his mission is to provide opportunities every day to bring light into the lifestyles of people who live in a dark world. Their vision is by offering awareness and hope to the world's views on their daily lives form, what it is and what it could be and what will change. The management team, staff, and positive coaches have inner care of hope for people. They are focused on giving people the opportunity to add more positive experiences in their daily life, which will spread out throughout the day and choose to connect with and eventually change our country, our world into a brighter place that we live in. Boy, do we need that. We believe in building and maintaining a positive mindset, along with identifying actions, creating partnerships with purpose, and always striving for significant positive outcomes and experiences. When you work with them, you should expect a collaboration with transparency, honesty, trust, and consistency. So we're going to be learning and even more about that, but everything you're saying is music to my ears. I believe that we are the problem in the world, but we are also the solution, and it's all about choice, and it's how we choose to look at things. I choose to live on the sunny side of the street. I'm totally aware of the darkness on the other side. However, if I went in there, I would get swallowed up in the darkness. But I'm here for when people want to cross the road into the light of positivity and help them find their path. And that is all we can do. People of free will have to want to change their lifestyles, want to change their situation, want to have something better in their life. And you can't help them until they are at that stage. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Do you agree with that? Do you believe that it's not just something you switch on? It's something that when you've had enough of the darkness, you realize that you need to come back out into the light.
I think that some people might feel that way. I think there's a lot of people who don't know how to get to the light. So once
Mm,
somebody shows them the path, then they can go. I mean, I know a lot of people in the mental health field and other places that I've talked to who literally are feel lost, or they think that this is how it's going to be. I'll see you. When I was in a hospital as a cerebral specialist to someone who was coming out of a suicide situation, they said, "I'll see you again soon." I said, "Why is that?" It's just the way it is. I go home, I come back, I go home, I come back. I said, it doesn't have to be. And they
mm,
said, what do you mean by that? So, like, some people are never given an option. It's like,
yeah.
patch you up, send you back to the same place. We'll see you again soon. And,
Mm,
until they're given an option, then they can say, okay, I don't have to be in the dark. I got away. And so,
yeah.
you
It's been in
know,
that place where kind of they've kind of had enough and willing to hear somebody saying, I have an option. You can do it another way. For
it's
some
not.
people, they say on a perpetual cycle, and it doesn't matter what you show them or how you wish to help them, they're not ready to see. But when somebody is ready to, there is another option, there is another way, now they're ready for the how to move forward into a different direction. But I think that the desire has to come before the how comes. I want to see the light. And then they start to see something, and then they can see the how to do it. But I call it the cosmic two by four. When People
Well,
have
the
been
what?
cosmic 2x4.
Cosmic two
So
by four.
yeah, when people get the nudge, nudge, and the wink, wink from the universe, and then eventually the cosmic 2x4, and then from there, from that ground up, it is like, I guess I need to change.
Right. But then once you get to the point of the thought of, I guess I need to change, that alone won't help you change if you don't know or have an
Yeah.
idea or a support system or a network that shows you the light at the end of the tunnel. Like, what direction do I go? I know I'm in the pitch black of my life and I have no idea. I can't see anything. I know I got to go somewhere. But after a while, if you're just walking and you can't find an end, you just like get you. Oh, I guess I'm just right here.
There's always a kind of a light at the end of the tunnel, a crack in the door. And, for people in the dark, go towards whatever that light is. Get out into some form of light. Don't keep going round in circles in the dark. And that when you are ready, as the old adage says, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear, right? And that your company is there to help people when they're ready. They're walking towards that light. They're coming out rather blinded, and they have no idea where to go next. But there still has to be that free will component of I'm wanting help. Show me how.
Yeah, I guess, but people who are suicidal don't get that opportunity sometimes. They get to
Mm,
the point like, they don't see any support. They don't see a light. They may want it, but they don't have any. They have no idea where to go, what to do. And like I'm saying, they feel like they're just eventually they're trapped in the darkness, and there's nobody giving them any light. And so they get to that point where they it's either, oh, I'm going to live like this the rest of my life, or not going to live. And so.
right.
mm.
Um,
And then sometimes, the people around them don't know how to help them.
yes,
And
exactly.
that's parents who are like, I don't know what to do about my son. He's in the room day and night. I try to tell him, get up and just do something. I'm like, how about learning about what they're going through? And then,
Yes.
tell them you're educating yourself, and then you'll get an idea of what they're going through. And then you can help them with what you know instead of just blindly trying to think what they need, Like, so
Don't assume.
education is, knowledge is power. Education is empowerment.
Mm,
More people around people learn about other people, about situations. I mean, that's what my whole strategy is about. Is people who are in the light need to pay attention to where
mhm.
they're going because they could wind up in the dark if they're not prepared for it.
Exactly. How do you stay in that light? And how do you recognize other people's got darkness around them? And how do you show them that light? And you're right, is that assumption must always be taken out of the question. Because until we ask, until we investigate, we're never going to know what really is. And half the time, people that are in that kind of darkness, in that depression, and have no idea where to go or whether to go or not, is because nobody's asking the right questions. Why do you feel this way? What triggered it? What is the root of it? Let us discover together. Let us get to the root cause of it so that we can help you, address it and move forward from it. But there's always the assumption, and there's always the band-aid thing, right? The drugs or this or that, and it's a band-aid, but it doesn't get to the root cause. And if we don't get to the root cause, it is going to be repeated. So,
Mhm.
we have to ask the right questions
In the right way.
in the right way. Right.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gently. As
Teach me, don't tell me. A lot of people don't want to be told.
right.
They want to be taught. If you walk
Yes.
into a house and someone says, your house smells, you need to get it up. They've been there all the time. They don't smell it. They go, I don't know
Right.
what you're talking about. So
Yep.
you walk in there like, hey, maybe different in here. Don't you think? Make them have to smell and see what they think.
Yeah.
Oh, what's
Yeah.
it smell like? And then you tell them, oh, okay, maybe. And the light goes, oh, well, it starts going.
Yes.
Same with people's lives. Addicts may not know that they're an addict, but they don't think they're an addict until someone shows them the right way of how to figure out that, hey, you know what, this, not that, oh, it's harmful to us. Well, how is that happening? Why, where are you going? What's going to, what are the significant things that are happening that lead you to believe? Let them figure it out. Don't be
Yes.
telling them that. You have a problem. I don't have a problem. Okay, well, they're going to deny that. If you show them
Mm,
how it affects, how your life is affecting other people, instead of saying you have a problem, saying, look, I have a problem. What's the problem? Well, this stuff is affecting me. This stuff is affecting them. You know, uh, not the person, their action. You know,
yes. Yes. Nobody grows up with I'm going to be an addict or I'm going to be a criminal or I'm going to be anything else. It is circumstances that lead them down that way. And, sometimes if you could just say, I'd love to know your origins. Where did you come from? What did you do? What were your passions? And sometimes it's re-triggering that memory of what I wanted to be, or that, the origins were really dark and nasty, and go, I can understand why you want to escape that. I can understand how that's painful.
Yeah.
But
I use the past to help people learn too. It's like,
mhm,
okay, what did you think you wanted to be when you're like 9, 10 years old? What's the first job you wanted to envision yourself when you saw on TV and said, I'd like to do that. And then once they answer that question, or if they say, I don't know, I have to remember. Well, think about it. Let me know what you think. And then when you do, ask yourself what happened,
yeah,
and then tell yourself, I can still do that. I mean,
yeah,
I'm
there's never too
62.
late.
I'm 62. I'm starting a business right from now. Like,
Yes,
anything's possible. If you get the idea that it is possible. You
yes.
know?
I've interviewed many a person that either has ended up in jail or has ended up an addict or ended up losing everything. That's that cosmic 2x4 that just flattens them and everything is lost. And they say that was the greatest gift given to them because they had to stop. They had to pause. They had to look at where they were at and ask themselves, how did I get here? How did I get here? And look at the choices they make, because everything is about choice, right? And it's, why am I making those choices that are so detrimental to me? What is in it that made me choose that? And I think when they can start asking themselves questions, and they can be prompted by other people and led by other people, but when they start asking themselves those questions, why am I here? Why did I allow this? How is it serving me? Then I think we're on a track now of more of inquiry. Is there something more? Can I get there? And if we don't instill that in them, and then the if we don't treat them as if they're flawed and wounded and injured, but we treat them as you're just simply lost. Let's help you find your way back. I think then it becomes something they want to be involved in. They want to ask the questions and they want to make the choices. But very often we go about it as treating them as broken. And then they feel, well, how can you put me back together?
Yeah, I was homeless and for the second time, and first time around, obviously I didn't pay attention. I actually blamed everybody else. It wasn't
Mm-hmm.
me.
Mm-hmm.
But the second time, when I was sitting on the bed the second day after I was there, I was like, I kind of know what else to blame. I mean, so what do you want to do, Steve? You're going to finish your life the way you've been, or you want to actually, do, something different with your life. So I had to look at myself and, look at myself. I went back in my time in my history and I said, what did I want to do back in the days when I was, before I started, being so immature and acting impulsively and doing all this bad decision making because of emotion and stubbornness, basically.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, okay, what did I want to do? Well, I wanted to own a business. I wanted to help people. I'm good at helping people.
Mm-hmm.
Not much good at helping myself sometimes, but I'm good at helping other people. Once I was in therapy, and that's when the first time around, and I left, and I came back, and the therapist was still there, and she said, "I hope you're going to work on yourself this time because you did good for everybody else, but you didn't do so well." I said, "Yep, I'm working on myself." So, but and I still ended up on in the shelter so twice. So it wasn't until I got to that point that I decided, okay, I have to look at myself and where I wanted to go, what I wanted to do, and how was I going to get there. The old question of what do I do now? And
Exactly.
I had to answer that question and figure out a strategy that I wanted to use for myself because I don't like complications, and I'm like, if I have to learn someone else's strategy that they design, that sounds complicated. So I figured out what I wanted to do: tackle negative situations, both current and potential, and get a pathway at the same time to positive experiences that I wanted. And plus, I created my own strategy, and thus began the positive action fusion lifestyle program.
Well, the best teachers are those that have gone through it, right? You understand. The relatability is there. The cha-cha-cha, 2 steps forward, 4 steps back, Nothing is going to be a straight linear line. There's going to be good days, bad days, there's going to be crippling days, and then illumination days. And it's all about finding that rhythm of life in which to ride in. But it's a bumpy ride until you get there. And when somebody's been through it and understands, then, I was homeless too from bad decision making, through trusting the wrong people. And Yeah, and it was a real wake-up call of, Sarah, you give everybody the benefit of the doubt. You see the positivity in everyone, but look at their actions. Are their actions following what's inside of them? Because I could see what was inside of them, but their actions were not living the truth of who they really were. They were living the illusional life and therefore not necessarily the ethical life. And so I got caught up and became bankrupt and became homeless and all of that. So lesson learned. But that's not the only lesson that I had to learn. I had to learn many other lessons. And that's the thing about the journey of life is you are always learning. And if you can get to a point of not looking at it, oh, it's another lesson, but it's like, what else do I have to learn and be more intriguing? It gets you up in the day, doesn't it? It gets you up to what am I going to learn today?
Yeah, I write every night. I suggest for other people, and I do it every night now since I got to this house. Is I write at the end of the night at least one positive experience or relearning experience or learning experience every night. And at the end of the week on a Sunday, I go over all those all week long, and then I'm ready for next week instead of like, oh my God, it's Monday. It's like, oh my God, it's Monday.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I'm ready to go. So if you remind yourself every day of something, because my motto in life now is that every day doesn't have to be a positive day as a whole, but
Yeah.
every day has a positive thing in it that you can find if
Yeah.
you're looking for it. If you're not
Yes.
looking for it, you're not going to find it. But if you look for it, there's a positive every day. Whether that's just you got out of bed,
Yeah.
got a shower, or you found somebody you met that you never met before, and triggered you in a positive way. You're like, okay, or some special funny event happened with your kids or your animals, whatever. I mean, whatever. There's something positive every day, and sometimes even a negative can be a positive
Yeah.
if you look at it at the end of the day in a different way. So
In
like
a
that
different way.
fuels
Mm-hmm.
it
Mm-hmm.
fuels me at nighttime, allows me to get up the next morning. I'm not regretting getting up. I'm not looking forward to not a bad day. I'm looking forward to the next adventure. And
The
I
next
know that
possibility.
it's not going to be all smooth sailing, but at the end of the day, I know I got something that I'm going to write down, and I'm going to be able to look at it after every week, after every month, at the end of the year. This past year was the first New Year's Eve that I could look back at my whole year and say, as a whole, wasn't great all the time, but it's the first year I could say I enjoyed the year, and now I'm looking
Mm-hmm.
forward to the year for the first time, and I'm like, 24 is going to be exciting, which in my
Exactly.
past looking
Mm-hmm.
ahead wasn't any better than looking behind. So,
Mm-hmm.
so
It
yes,
is what we
writing
feed
something
it,
down.
isn't it? It is what we feed it. And the thing is that, there may be hailstones going on outside and you can't go out today, but there's always something to find a smile about, right? And that's the thing. And I think if you look for the smiles, or you are the smile, and you get somebody else to smile, how much that lifts you up. You know, uh, Good morning. How are you today? Isn't the weather lovely as it's a hurricane outside? Learn to laugh at life, learn to look to, as I said, the sunny side of the street. And sometimes, yes, you almost have to fake it before you make it. But the thing is if you do it, and you look for the things to be joyful about, you actually realize there's a lot more joy out there than you gave credit to because you've lived in the darkness for so long, you can't see all that joy. But the more and more you immerse yourself every day looking for the little things, I've got food in front of me, I have a bed to sleep on. I've got an opportunity today to go meet someone or do something. And then you start adding those all up, and then you realize actually, I'm quite abundant, really. I'm quite enriched.
Yeah, I love smiles. When I was 17, I was walking down a mall trying to find a gift for my mom. We just had an argument. I wasn't really happy with her, but I was still trying to figure out what I could buy her. My mind was like all over the place, emotions and thoughts. And then some younger lady had come by and just gave a smile. She walked by, and I felt so cool. My head cleared up, and I was like, oh, I know what to get her. And like the rest of the day was good, just by one smile. And since that day,
Exactly.
I used to collect smiley face. I mean, I'm a big smile fan. When I'm on the line both during all these meetings, I'm like, make sure you're smiling. I believe it. Even though I have great teeth, I still like to smile. Smiles are infectious.
They
Infectious.
are, they're intoxicating. And it's you could be in the middle of a cry fest, letting it all out. And then somebody could crack a joke or just say something, can you smile? And it just changes everything. And, you know, soft, kind words, it's just empathy, soft, kind words. It's just even a touch, seeing somebody have a bad day. a hand on the shoulder. I'm here. I'm here. Take some of my energy. And that's sometimes what do people want to know? They count. They're seen. They're here for a reason. Why do people go to addiction? Why do people go to violence? Why do people get lost in the world of depression? It's because they don't feel seen or heard, or they don't feel purposeful. And if we see them and we hear them, and we start showing them what we see in them, all the beauty that we see in them, they slowly begin to see it for themselves.
Exciting. I'm all pumped up with positivity. So every day I believe that, looking for positive, like the old saying, smile a day chases the negative away.
Mm,
So like, as long as you're smiling, that sun is shining. And it takes an effort. People have to know this is that negative and darkness live all the time. It
mm-hmm,
takes an effort to turn on a light. It takes an effort to
mm,
be positive. It's a lot easier to be negative. It's a lot easier to be doubtful and sad. We as a nation, we're easy to take on the negative stuff, the news,
yes.
the reports.
Oh God,
Everybody's
yes.
good to put their cell phones and watch negative situations, but it's not that easy to come out and greet someone that you haven't seen in a while. I haven't seen my neighbor in a while. Just say hi.
Mm,
It takes an effort. You can sit there all day and think positive all you want, but if you're not actually doing something, then thought ain't gonna be seen. No one can read your mind unless you
yeah,
actually make an effort.
yes,
That's part of the title of my company is Positive Action Infusion Lifestyle. But the keystones are action infusion. Without
yes,
having an infusion of action, you don't get the positive lifestyle. You know,
exactly.
so,
Now, I call it participation in your own life because you can't wait for everything just to come to you. Things can be presented to you, but how are you going to act on it? How are you going to um, receive that, and what are you going to do with it? And if you don't take action, if you don't participate in your own life, nobody's here to fix you. Nobody's here to kind of take you apart and put you back together. We're not androids, we're human flesh. But people can be here to inspire you, to uplift you, to show you all the wonderful opportunities in front of you. But if you're not willing to walk it, you're not going to be receiving it. So you have got to be willing, even when you feel heavy, even when you feel down and you feel, I just don't know if I can take a step forth. You find that way of, I have to. This is the only way out of the darkness I'm in right now, is I have to take that step forward. And if it's one step you make today, hallelujah, tomorrow will be easier and easier as long as you keep moving forward.
it's good. It's a combination pattern. You can if you're really struggling, people with depression and other stuff, they might want to take the step forward, and they might take a couple of steps forward. But if there's nobody there to help them the rest, or guide them, or give them encouragement, they'll go right back to where they were because that's comfortable. It's where I'm at. It's more risky, more scary to go
Yes.
forward for some people and then have it collapse on them and go right back anyway. I'd rather stay here and take the chance I'm going to come back because I can't make it to where I'm going. So, but
Yeah.
if you have support, like you see people are helping people who are recovering from physical injuries. They have people that will help them work their way back. If you have support emotionally, mentally that way too, that helps. Too many people come out of rehabs, and they go right back to the same
Yes.
areas that they are because they have no support of going any further.
Right.
Yeah,
It
same
stops
as like
there.
the person. Yeah, same as like the person that was in the hospital. I'm going back home. Is home what got you here? Yeah.
Yeah.
Then why are you going back? I
Yeah.
don't have any other choice. Well, let's figure that out.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, then when you're leaving jail or you're leaving a rehab or for whatever, I mean, and then that's the job of people who are in those places to go, hey, where are you going? And I
Mm,
mean, does it make any sense to send you back to a drug
no,
infested area or an
exactly.
out place right by a bar where you're an alcoholic already? Or any other mental health stuff where you're already being abused in a
Hmm.
situation. I mean, that's where people get failed on in
Yes.
systems is that they just want to patch you up and put you back out there,
Yep.
and then if you make it, you make it, and then you go home and the family's like, we don't
Yeah.
want to deal with it again, and you're right, we wind up right back where you are. That's why support a support network, and that when we give strategies and I teach people my strategy, I also have coaching to help out. It's not like you just
Mm,
here you go home and and read the book, do the thing, But no, I have a coach available. If you need
Yes.
and have an issue, call up, come up, right up. We'll come over. We'll help guide you through a situation you may not know or remember how this works here. Okay, we'll help out. Because I know, you can't just, teach and run. You have to, teach and guide.
Mhm.
So
Most people want to recover, especially when they take the first few steps. They want a better life. They want to have a reason to get up every day, and they're willing to put that work in. But as I said, the cha-cha-cha, two steps back or step forward, there's the wobbly days, or the days where you just feel everything else is still consuming. It takes a long time to kind of detox all the pain, all the substance, all the hurt. It takes that time. And to think it's just going to be done like that and band-aid and off you go again. No, you're throwing them back into the lion's den. So it's a person feeling, I can take my time, right? And you're not milking it, but take my time, that somebody really does care. Somebody's really there to help me. And one of the biggest problems we have in society, we will invest so much money in wars and in weapons and in drugs. But how much money do we invest in people, in humanity? And if somebody's homeless, they must be lazy, down and out, go and get a job, right? And the amount of people that are homeless that right now, especially, you've got people that are working and are homeless because they can't afford the rent because they're not earning enough. So again, don't assume, don't judge. Try and understand why a person is where they are. I interviewed a couple of people. One of them used to buy homeless signs. The signs, I need money or I need food, I need that. And he said, I'll buy the sign from you, a transaction. And he kept the signs. And eventually he did a whole, um, uh, I've forgotten the word of it, but anyway, he had a display of it. And he did a documentary on the homeless. And another gentleman used to walk past a particular homeless woman every day. And then one day he decided just to stop and talk to her. And that led him to bringing food every day and then meeting the homeless people and then writing their story every single day, writing about where they're at and how they feel and everything else and humanizing them and showing their real struggles. And he never thought he was going to be on that path. It became something that became his second career. The whole point is when we give dignity, when we look at people, not for where they're at, but for the beautiful souls they are and help them rediscover that and invest in humanity, we will see so much more love and light in the world than we're seeing right now because we're putting money, effort, and energy in the wrong places.
yeah, I think that another important aspect is to remember that when helping the people who have experience and knowledge about what you're doing or what you're trying to accomplish can also prepare you for what the challenges of those first steps back, two steps are. Like, someone who doesn't know what you're going through and trying to help you, isn't capable of understanding what's ahead, tell you what you're going to go through because they
Yeah,
themselves haven't experienced it. But
exactly.
if you've experienced homelessness, and you can share the process. There's different levels of homelessness
Yeah,
too. People don't understand that. Homelessness is at different levels. Like I had money, Social Security. I was homeless. I'm in a shelter. I didn't have a car, transportation, or any real home, but I had a shelter. Some people are out in the street, no money, no
nowhere to
place to
go.
go.
Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, they're true homeless. Other
yes,
people live in their cars or live in wherever. But I mean, there's different levels of homelessness, and people like don't they bunch us all together homeless. But
mm,
and we do ourselves. It's like we're homeless, but I had money, so like I knew I wasn't really homeless like compared
mm,
to other people. So I would try to help out those. But there's people on the street that are just they make choices that create bad names for the homeless too. Like I
yes,
sold a. Like I went in and asked the person one time, "Do you need a sandwich?" And he had a sign. He was hungry. I said, "I'll buy you a sandwich." He said, "Okay." I got him a hoagie. He turned around and sold it before he even got around the corner to another
right.
person. And I walked up to him. I said, "I just gave you a hoagie that you wanted. I just want the money." Well, then say that. Why are you
Yeah,
trying to fool people that you want a food and you're going to sell it for money? Because that's what creates a bad name for the people who don't want to give you money because they know that
yeah,
you don't really want it for food. They know you want it for something different,
yeah,
and you know you're not going to get it if you say what you really want it for. So like
right.
I just like and but there's other people I say, hey, listen, you get to a shelter, I will help you the rest of the way. Because I've been there. I'll contact the counselor. I'll let them know, I got a company now. You need help. I know I know places where you can go. I mean, that's what helping people is
Yes.
but but again, like your point, the person has to be to the point where they're ready
Hmm.
to accept help, and what that all means. Help
It's
doesn't
also
mean
it's also understanding, the different levels of depression. Um, the one thing that you should never ever say to somebody that's in depression is snap out of it
get
because
your
they
boots
don't.
on,
Yeah, they
strap
yeah,
them up.
yeah, right. The thing is, when you're in depression, it's got nothing to do with intellect. It's got nothing to do with anything rational. It's that you have a hole inside of you and somebody has pulled out everything, your heart, your soul, your spirit. You're empty, you're in despair. You can't even articulate what you're in despair of. I bet you are just almost out of breath. And, I think that an awful lot of people, if interviewed on the other side, that commit suicide in that moment would say, I didn't want to die. I just wanted the pain to stop, because this feeling of despair is so consuming. And people trying to rationalize with you that there isn't any of it. That at that point I eventually seeked out medication, but I only take it now when I need it, because I found different ways to recognize it so I don't go down that rabbit hole. But for people obviously on the street, lost the job, loss, they need to go through the loss, they need to recover from that loss, but getting through the veil of depression. And sometimes, medication is needed, but also finding different ways of them handling that depression, of being able to recognize it before it takes hold of you, and to also recognize, don't push too far, because you may push them over that side where they can't come back, or it's too hard. So it's, please never tell anybody to snap out of it, or I did it, you can do it. It's that
or
we're
or be
not the
quiet.
same.
Or who you be quiet, who you talking to? There's lots of different challenges that people have,
Yeah.
anxiety challenges,
Mm.
there's schizophrenia, there's different forms of that,
Yes.
I mean, and if you don't understand what's
Hmm.
going on, then don't make it worse by
Right.
assuming that you do. I mean, learn. The best thing people can do in the internet days is you can go out and learn. You can
Yes.
type it up, boom, and read about what people are going through, what kind of signs are there, what symptoms are there. I mean, you can educate yourself. So if you hear someone yatting in themselves and you don't see a phone or earplugs, I mean, doesn't mean they're crazy, as
No.
that term might be, but I mean, they're challenges. Everybody
Yeah.
has. I like the word challenges. I don't like
Yes.
illness. I don't like all these other forms of
Mm.
typecasting people. They're no better, no worse than having diabetes or heart
Yes.
challenges
Yes.
or physical challenges. It's a challenge. A challenge is something that you can learn to handle.
Yeah.
If you can't not necessarily cure it or overcome it entirely, you can at least learn how to handle it so you can move forward in a positive way in your life. And and feel like if someone had a challenge of having a leg and they can't use it, they have another leg and they have to learn to move forward with their life. I mean,
Yeah.
that's a challenge. It's not a detriment. It's a challenge.
Right.
That's all.
You learn, it's self-management. You learn how to manage yourself. Your limitations, but you don't look at those limitations as a failure. It's that I can't do that, but I can do this. And you concentrate on what you can do, and you don't focus all your energy on what you can't do. And you make no apologies for what you can't do, right? Because the last thing we want is people to feel guilty because they can't do what you can do. This is their challenge. They're learning to manage their challenge in a way that doesn't interfere in the way of them being flawsome, right? Beautifully flawsome. We're all flawed in some ways. We put ourselves back together with love. And when we're back together with love, we're beautifully flawed creatures that are so strong now with all that experience that we've learned, that we're fruitful, we're abundant. But it's a question of the willingness to go through the journey and go, okay, so what? You can't do this anymore. What else can you do? You're not just one thing. There's so much more in you. The universe is telling you, no, you're not a runner anymore. What are you? And make your own self discovery into so much more that you are and embrace that. But we don't encourage that. We've put the emphasis on the, you know, the challenge rather than, okay, you're challenged with this, you manage it in this way so it doesn't hold you back, but what else is in you that is waiting to come out?
Yeah, and other people need to, I need, and they, it would be helpful with society if people were start educating themselves on the challenges that people have,
Yep.
especially their family members or people that they
Mm-hmm.
loved ones, because the more you know, the more positive you can be, in a situation, which again fuels positivity. If you don't have that education, you don't have that knowledge, and you're wondering what's going on or how can you help? Well, that's the way to help. Learn, educate, and
Yes.
then use the positivity to turn that your aspect and view of a negative situation into a positive one. And then if you're viewing it as more of a positive one and it's not affecting you in a negative way anymore, then they'll see that and they can say, okay. And then once they learn, this is the best part I've learned of all my stuff is when you find people who have overcome their challenges, you ask them, listen, would you like to help someone else who had that
Yes.
challenge?
Mm-hmm.
And then now you're the influencer. You're the guy who's going to
Yeah.
spark that light. They can't say it can't happen because look, I just did it.
Yeah.
So I'm 62 years old. I deal with bipolar challenges. I'm owning a business at 62. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, I'm new. I'm stepping into the waters. I have no business education. I just decided in 2023 I'm going to open a business with whatever money I had left from my house sale that my mom and dad's house got sold. I mean, instead of putting it to the wash and dryer, I'm putting it to a business. I want to help other people learn what I did to get to where I'm at. And it's a venture, not having any
Yes.
experience.
Oh,
You
yes.
know?
Oh, yeah.
But I'm
But,
doing
but
it.
it's never too late. I started this at 58. I mean, at
There
57.
you go.
I'm 69. I have health challenges, and I agree with you. I wish people would understand. I don't want them to feel sorry for me. I want them to understand that when I can't do this or that, don't make me feel less than. Don't let me make me feel broken. Don't focus on what I can't do, but support me in what I can do. Because if they don't understand, because I have fibromyalgia and I look like I'm perfectly all right, but I live with a pain level anywhere between 5 and 7 every single day. And then, wait, you can do this, you can do that. Just push yourself. No, I know my limitations and I know the price I'm going to pay if I push too far. So why don't you educate yourself on what I'm living with and understand what I can give and what I can't give? And don't ask of me of something I can't give and then make me feel bad for it.
Yeah.
AI is I've just done an AI show. And for anybody that, has a computer or a phone, you can get onto AI. AI has become an enormous support with people with anxiety or depression or just even wanting to learn something because AI hasn't got an emotional aspect to it. It's a very logical, rational. But I know people that have used it with just having a conversation, an AI responding, feeling I'm being heard, but I'm not burdening somebody with it, or I'm not being judged by somebody by revealing what I feel. Instead, I've got something coming back at me that is actually supporting me by listening to me or even giving some solutions. There's always tools out there, there's always things out there, but we have to reach a certain point in our life where it has to be, I can't live like this anymore. I've got to change. My whole starting of the podcasting in 2012 came from me writing an article on depression. Somebody read the article, looked at my site, and said, I think you should have a show on my network. I didn't have the money for it. I don't even know how I managed to pay for it. And I didn't know anything about podcasting, but it was like an opportunity. And I went, okay, let's give it a try. And if you're not willing to give it a try, how do you know if you can or cannot do it?
I'm not a fan of AI, so I'm going to leave that topic alone.
I understand it quite well. So it's yes, it's you have to be there for it. But the whole point is we're not alone. And when we are homeless or an addict or in any form of challenges, we feel alone and isolated. And when people see you, hear you, and say, I'm here for you, I'm here for you, and you don't feel so alone, that's when people are willing to walk forward and go, I'm seen, I'm heard, I count. And we've got too many people out there that do not feel seen, heard, or counted.
Yeah, I think if a person called and talked to a computer and they were feeling depressed and the person has no experience of what he's going through, that doesn't matter what you say. You don't relate it. If you talk to someone who actually knows what you're
Mm-hmm.
going through and can share that, that's a lot better than an AI just give you some
If you
cozy
have
words.
access to that, most certainly, if you have access to that, always the human component is always much
Well, that's where the
stronger.
strategy comes in your life. There's
Mm.
always people out there. You just have to learn to figure out where they're at. It's called strategy, paying
Yes.
attention. You can pick up and dial a phone. I'm sure you know people who have phones that's not just a computer. So,
Yeah.
it's learning how to deal with life with human beings before computers are around. We had to figure that out. And it's no different. Human compassion, human empathy, human relating, at all much better than someone a computer that has no concept or feeling whatsoever. Can't get emotional with you. Can't. I understand. No, you don't. You're a computer. You have no idea what you understand.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I have a big issue with computers and AI. So I'm not saying that they're completely wrong to have them. I'm just saying that in certain situations, if I'm suicidal or I'm depressed or I'm having issues, the last thing I want to do is talk to a computer. I'd rather talk to someone who has experience, or even if they don't have experience, that if they can give me a hug or they can give me a touch or give me a smile. I can't, or anything. They have their
Yeah.
own challenges. They can relate. Like I had a challenge. Computer's not going to say, "Oh yeah, I understand. I have this challenge." It doesn't have a challenge. So
It might be a
I think
gateway for some people that are very
it
techie.
might be. And I'm
You
not
know,
saying it's
some
not for
people are
everyone.
very techie, may trust that first before
Yeah.
they're going to go and trust another human. And it, whatever works. Obviously, the human touch is obviously something very, very important, because when you have another human there, literally in front of you saying, I care, I'm here, laughing with you, smiling with you, goofing around with you. I mean, one of the things that you lose when you're in despair is laughter. Nothing feels funny. But when you can get to that point where you can even laugh at yourself, then it's like you're on that road to recovery. You're beginning to lighten up and letting go of the load. But that's a process to get to a point where you're strong enough to then turn around and look at that root cause. Right. Okay. I feel strong enough now to turn and look at where is the root cause of how I am, where I am, what I'm doing, and everything else. Because if you don't take care of that, it doesn't matter what's done on the other surface. It's a band-aid until you get to that root cause and face it. Because if you don't face that trauma or whatever it is that got you on this path, then you're just going to repeat it no matter what. So having
Well,
somebody that cares enough to listen and guide you on that path safely, for you to look at that root cause and go, okay, you know what? Now I've looked at it and I've seen it. I can let it go now, because I am so much more than what happened to me. I am so much more courageous and stronger, and I have more abilities than I ever thought I had. So I can let that pain go now, but and not carry it with me any further.
my training classes are going to teach people. I literally will help them turn the light on and then supply people who will help them get to the end of the tunnel. Because sometimes you get the light at the end of the tunnel and you're stumbling and bumbling around through the tunnel trying to get to the light. But I have people who will help them out. So if you have mental health challenges, or you have other challenges in your life, financial, relationship challenges, and you're asking the question, what do I do? Or how do I get this? I help you figure that out yourself. And then once you figure out where you're going, I got people that I'll have lined up to help you take you the rest of the way. But the point is, I'm helping the people, learn to think and plan and
Mhm.
see. You're not helpless. You're not sitting
No.
there. You have the ability to. What do you want? What do
Yeah.
you need? If
Mm.
if the big question, if things could be different for you today, how would that look? And then once
Yeah.
you figure out how that would look, then the question is, how do you get there?
Yes.
Well, one step at a time.
One step at a time, with encouragement, with participation, with, loving care,
Forward.
right?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, that's
But
all we
first,
need is sometimes just some love around us, right? To be in the presence of love, and that love vibration, and just reminds us that there is beauty out there in the world. and you
Yeah.
can be a part of it if you're willing to take that journey. Do you only help people in your location, or is this something duplicated elsewhere?
Right now I'm only in my location, but on the internet, I'm going to be helping train people whoever wherever they want to sign up for, because that's what that's the goal, to reach the country and then the world. 20 years from now, I'll be throughout the whole world, or my company will be throughout the whole world, changing people's lifestyle, in a way that they can walk down the stairs every day and already be planning ahead.
Right.
Because that's the key to life, is to plan. When I figured that out, when I was sitting on the bed in the shelter, I said, "Well, how do successful people become successful and stay successful?" And I looked to the business world, the professional sports world, and the entertainment world, and they all had a plan,
Mm,
adopted their plan, consistently worked the plan. And look, I didn't have a plan all my life. I
yeah.
just lived life every day. And some people don't know that that's how life, the
Yes.
key and the purpose of life. If you want to know what the purpose of life is, it's to be happy. That's
Yes,
the
it
purpose.
is.
what
Mm-hmm.
what what you do to become happy, everybody has different things about that
Yeah.
is. But even the people that do what you call bad stuff, they do it because it makes them happy some way, somehow. So when you first get your diaper changed or you get fed and you realize that
Mm,
makes you happy, from that point on, that's your purpose in life. Every day, whatever you're doing every day long, you try, your decision is based on what's going to make you happy. Now sometimes your choices don't make you as happy as you thought you would be,
mm-hmm.
but they're still aiming to be happy. That's the goal. So my job and my company's job is to figure out what's going to make you happy. What's going
Yeah.
to get that? What do I do now? And say, okay, now I know what to do. And then even if you come across a negative situation, like for instance, you're out with your car, you're in a car, you're driving a car, and you go back home, and the car is not working. It dies, or it's not working. Is the question, what do I do now? Or is the question, oh, okay, I got people lined up. I know who to call.
Yeah.
One's still a negative situation. The car's not working, but the difference in the outcome of how you feel and the outcome of the situation is more positive when you're prepared for it than if you don't have no idea how you're getting home, or how are you going to get the
Or you give
car, or what
up.
you're going to do the next
Yeah.
day. And
Mm-hmm.
that goes with housing situations, relationships. Someone loses a job in your family, all of a sudden, what are we going to do? That's what are we going to do? Well, I'm helping people learn the what am I going to do now becomes, okay, we know the situation. We know what to do. I mean, you're prepared ahead of time. Can't
It,
prepare for everything in the world, but
no,
there's what
and
you
you
can
adjust as
prepare.
you go, right? As you
Yeah,
learn
but
something,
what
you
you can
adjust.
prepare.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
But
have to think.
so you're building a community of support. So in your area, it's building a community of people going out and working with people in your area. And then what you're doing on your site is educating other people that want to go and work out in their areas and actually work hands-on with the people in their area.
No, if that's what they want to do, it's up to them. But I'm training people individually to
Yeah.
begin to have a better lifestyle, and then through them, other people will learn to have a better
Yes.
lifestyle. I'm not asking people to go out and do what I do in their areas. If they want to, that's up to them. They can come work for me. They can be a trainer. But
Right.
I'm saying I'll be asking them if they want to do that. But I just want them to go out and have a plan every day. When you're getting up in the morning, you have a plan. When you go to bed at night for the next day, you have a plan. So when you get up, it's not like, oh my God, it's Monday. It's, oh my God, I can't wait to get started.
Yeah.
Because the more things you do infuse this situation in your mind, you start thinking ahead of time, you avoid a lot of negative situations, or they're not as bad as they used to be, and you create positive situations for yourself to achieve because you have an idea and a goal and a plan how to get there. Resolutions, throw them out the door. Make plans.
Yeah.
Resolutions don't happen. They're for people that say, I'd like to, but
Don't actually do
one
it.
day maybe, but
The
resolutions you
thing
keep
is that
going.
as you gain your confidence, as you gain your own self-empowerment, you become an illumination for someone else. So inspiration begets invitation, and you start building a community. And that community starts rising, and then everybody's there to support one another. The village is only as strong as everyone in it. They're there to celebrate the good times. They're there to support people during the bad times. They know they've got each other. And that's what we need to get back to, is people that have each other. But you always need somebody to walk in that darkness and be that illumination, be that light that they're drawn to believe that they can be the strength that they are seeking or don't think they are worthy of. And so the more that somebody becomes the light in their life, then they can walk down the street and be that shining star that other people want to attract behind. And so the domino effect, goes out. And that's, you have no idea the impact that you have on others
If
just
somebody,
by being happy.
yeah, somebody once asked me, they said, I'd like to figure out how to change the world. And I said to them, every day you come in contact with someone, you have changed the world. He said,
Yes.
what do you mean? I said, listen, they're on a path when they come to you, whether it's a negative or positive path. They meet you. Now
Yeah.
you are at a crossroads with whatever path you're on. So
Yeah.
if you decide to do a positive thing and they leave going, wow, it was cool to meet Steve, now their path continues in a positive way or becomes a positive
Yes.
way, and
The
you end
ripple
up going in a
effect.
positive way. The same
Yes.
as if it's a negative thing. You give them a
Yes.
negative vibe or negative output, they become a negative individual, they pass it on to the next person that they go to. So every day we can change the world just by, my favorite show in the world is It's a Wonderful Life, and
Yes.
because the message is that everybody is important to everyone in the world for
Absolutely.
some reason or another. So
The
like,
6 degrees
without
of
you,
separation, right? Yeah, exactly. It's that we've got to understand um, that, in the instrument that we are in life, we need to learn how to play it beautifully. And yes, we could be soloists, but when we choose to join the orchestra and we all come together in each in our own strength, but harmoniously, that together we can transcend that symphony in a much bigger way. But that symphony is not going to be good if you are not an instrument that is full, if you're not an instrument that is strong. So it is imperative that we find our happiness, our meaningful purpose, our calling, our joy in anything and whatever we're doing, because that joy is what we're bringing to the orchestra. That is what's going to ripple out and magnify out. So it's not sacrificing yourself for somebody else's joy. It's about you being the joy and let your cup runneth over and igniting the joy in others.
it's like having a candle and passing it on to someone else who has the candle. Because if you stay long enough by yourself, the candle goes out.
Exactly.
So it's power in numbers, whether it's
Uh-huh.
negative or it's positive. The more people you have around you, surrounding, and you're affecting, and the more positive the world can be. The more negative that you share and have around you,
Mhm.
because it is true, the more who you hang with, is what you
Yes.
end up being. Unless you can change the group,
Right.
that's the key. Knowing what you're doing and what they're doing. If they're changing you, then you
Hmm.
need to get out.
Exactly.
Unless you're the negative person and they're changing you to the positive, that's good. But if
Right.
you're the one that's positive and you're in a group that's pulling you down and keeping you and starting to lose your positivity, then it's time to move on because some
Yeah.
people aren't ready. Like even in the Bible, Jesus told them his disciples, "You go to a city, if they don't want you, dust your feet and move on."
Yes.
And that's how you got to be. You're a positive person. Find positive people, but also
Yeah.
don't neglect the negative people because they need the light. But just make
Yes.
sure that you know when it's time to leave and when to stay. And if you need more people to power up that situation, and go find more positive people to bring with you.
Exactly. And then, this is why, like, I used to work with people in the dark and then I found myself swallowed up. So this is why I feel more empowered, be on the sunny side of the street and show how bright it is over here, how wonderful it is over here, how happy it is over here. And all you have to do is just put your foot on that street and then there's somebody here to help you. But that has to be, I am wanting and willing to step out of the darkness. I can see the light, I'm going to head for it. I was in the
And
darkness for 8 years. I know what it's like to be in there. And the biggest problem is apathy, getting too comfortable in the darkness that, you just don't want to be bothered to come out. And you don't want to get to that stage. So if you're seeing other people that have been in the darkness suddenly enjoy, suddenly in gratitude of life, and suddenly, loving everything they do in life, it's like, well, what are they doing differently? And when people inquire that, and they're willing to come forth and then step into that, do the work to get into that, then they actually truly understand the real value of their lives and what they're really here to do.
yeah, I think just remember, if you come across someone who says the famous words, well, I can't get that. I don't know. It's for them. I'm never going to get there. And then you ask them, well, why? What do you
Yeah.
think you need to get there? You know, don't debate with them. Just ask them why. What do you need to get there? What do you need? And if they say, okay, well, in order for me to get there, boom, then you have something to work with. But it's like, yeah, but it's a lot. Some people see other people as positive, but they don't believe they can be that way, or they
Right.
see someone as successful, but I'll never be able to do that. Maybe you can't do the exact thing. Like
Yeah, you're not
if you
meant
don't,
to
if you
anyway.
can't fly to the moon, doesn't mean you can't work in a station that helps make them. I mean, it's like
Exactly. Every nut and bolt counts, right?
that, so you can
I
feel
believe me,
important.
I
Go ahead.
have heard some stories in my nearly 12 years of doing this and over 3,000 shows. I've heard some stories that are absolutely horrific that no human being should ever go through. But these people at some point chose to change their circumstances. They chose to go through the healing. They chose to let go of the victimization or the pain or whatever it is that was holding them back and do the work. And now they've become that illumination for other people. And people hear their story, and you've gone from that to that, and they will say, yes, it's hard, and I've still got the 10% that keeps following me, the darkness that keeps following me, but I've fed the light of the 90%. And they become that beacon of hope for other people, that we can come out of any situation, however horrific it is, if we are willing to choose to. You've got to make that choice first, and make sure
There's a,
that you choose to have the right people in front of you.
there's a online. And I know from my past. There's a lady, from way back in the day, a long time ago, but she's online, of a person. She has no arms, no legs, no nothing, but she learned how to paint with her mouth,
Mouth, yes.
and created great pictures, like
Right.
great art. So like it, and that like is inspiring. Just
Yes.
like the lady who learned how to read Braille.
Yep.
All those people, like handicap challenges, whatever you want to call it, like they're only limited limitations to something. That doesn't
Yeah.
mean that they're limiting to all.
They
Life
don't
doesn't.
define they don't define the whole of you. It's just a
Right.
part of you.
It doesn't
Right.
define life. Life can
Yeah.
go on. You just have
Mm.
to figure out what you want and how you can do it.
Yeah.
Accept the fact that your limitations in some area, but don't accept that you can't do anything. You can just find something, you can get something, you can be, you are somebody. You just need the right support and the right light to go on and be able to understand and believe that you have the ability to do something more. Life doesn't end just because you have depression or because you have a
Yeah.
challenge that people don't understand, or you're in a situation that's negative and you don't think you can get out. Those are options that you can do if you're
Yes.
willing to look. Again,
Hmm.
start looking every day for a positive thing. Every day you start finding one, the more you find, you'll see will come up more and more and more. And then until all of a sudden every day starts looking more positive as a whole
Yeah.
because you're finding so many more things positive. The beauty of nature, the beauty of
Yes. Yes.
of
Yes.
all kinds
Yes.
of things.
You start seeing little things in life that just keep adding up as pure joy. And then you go, thank goodness I'm alive. I'm grateful every morning for waking up.
And then you
And,
get to the point where the balance is doable. It's
yes.
like I'm not living in the negative world. I'm not living in like this. There's some negative aspects, but there's more positive, and I'm
Yeah.
willing to focus on the positive now than I am the negative because it's there, but it's not controlling my
The
life.
10% negative that's
I'm
always there is partly scars, partly, life's lesson to keep you there, but that 90% of what you feed, right? That
I'm not
90%.
letting the negativity
Hmm.
control my life or dictate where I'm going.
Right.
I'm choosing
Been there, done that, right? Know it was unproductive, a waste of life, and that when you decide to infuse your life with positivity and believe you can and believe you will, then you start doing. And then you go, look, my God, look what I'm doing. Look how far
one
I'm
one
going.
Yeah, one side is tiring and the
Yes,
other side is energizing. So
exactly.
when you hear a lot of depressed people say I'm tired all the time, it's because they're not doing anything.
Right.
They're just wasting, and that's tiring when you mentally and physically are fighting, the life of the negative, but that wears you out. But when you're energized, no matter how tired you are, if someone comes around, even at our age, and starts
Yes.
energizing us, all of a sudden we don't feel like we're 60s. We feel
No.
like we're younger.
Yes.
Even though, I mean, and there's some younger generations that look at us and like, how you got so much energy? Well, how don't you?
Right.
Like,
When you
but
embrace the exuberance of life, despite your challenges, right? Despite, the things that you can't do, you look at all the things that you can do and that you have discovered. about yourself that you could do. You sat on a bed and decided, I just don't want to be homeless or in a shelter anymore. There's something more in me. There's something more I can do. And look what you started. You started a whole organization to be that support that you wanted for yourself, that you're now being for others because you understand what they need. And if we look at our adversity, we look at our challenges and go, why me? We're going to get swallowed up in it. But we look at it and go, okay, why me? What am I meant to do with this? Right? What am I
Yeah.
meant to invest in? What am I meant to discover about this that I can apply? So I will say with these shows, listen, learn, and apply. There is always something you're going to learn here. And how can you apply it to your life and anything that you do? That's
Yeah.
the important thing.
At the end of the day, if you haven't learned anything during the day, you haven't been looking. Uh,
Exactly. Exactly. So, my dear, how do people get hold of you? Share all of your site, your YouTube, your Facebook.
my company is called Positive Action Infusion Lifestyle. Our website is positiveinfusion.com. I have a YouTube channel, Positive Infusion Man 62, and Facebook under my Positive Action Infusion Lifestyle. My email address is PAILS, PAILS dot brighter future, BRIGHTERFUTURE @gmail.com.
Right. So positiveinfusion.com, YouTube, Positive Infusion Man 62, and Facebook, Positive Action Infusion Lifestyle. And they can also email you. And if somebody is on the street, of course, they don't have access maybe to internet or anything else. If you know somebody, if you know somebody, maybe go buy them a cup of coffee, sit next to them and say, can I introduce you to something? Right. Now, what area are you in? Because that you concentrate on your area, and you want to have other people pick up and do it in other areas. But what's the area that you're in?
I'm Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
So anywhere are you throughout Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, or are you located in a certain area?
Well, I'm in my home. My business is currently in my house in Southwest Philly, but I reach out to everywhere I can reach
Right.
out.
So you work with people face to face, one on one, or do you sometimes work with people via Zoom if they have that, or if they're in a different location?
At the moment, I am just going to be online until I can hire people to help with to give alleviate aspects that I have to do so that we can go out and be hands on. My coaches that I will have, I don't have them yet. I'm going to be hiring them. I'm brand new, just starting, so
Mm-hmm.
I haven't gotten full boat going with my company. We're online training right now. And through those trainings, I hope to find people that will be willing to be trainers and then start training people as well. And then eventually, when my company makes enough money, then we'll find a place, our first building for our company to be located, and then have people start coming in for in person training and coaching, and then move on from there. I have a goal of having a actual office building training center in every state of America by 20 years from now.
Right. And the thing is that there's always people that are doing something similar but in a different way. So collaborations are always wonderful. It's always, building that village of community elsewhere, because that's when people see what you're doing and the experience that you've had, and it may be something they're lacking in theirs. And then there's always that beautiful fusion of, collaborations, which are wonderful. And that also helps expand out really quickly as well. So anybody listening to this, if you know somebody in Pennsylvania and you may be doing something and you think, I like what he's doing, I like his approach, I like where he's come from, reach out and start a conversation, because you have no idea how you're going to help each other.
Yeah, I'm also planning on having a positivity conference slash summit where all and anyone who does things related to positive stuff will be able to come and share their stuff. And I'm also going to have a positive retreat, for people to learn how the senses, music therapy, art therapy,
Mm-hmm.
aromatherapy can all be a positive thing, and how that can help them also enhance their energy levels and their positivity. So those are things that I'm working on for the upcoming, future for anyone who's out there who might be interested in gathering together and help me plan those two things, companies, organizations, or individuals who have those positive skills or services or abilities, they can contact me and we can work together to get that together as well. But the more we work together
Yeah.
to spread this positive stuff and, redefine what this world is about. Because the worst thing I ever heard was when someone said, I don't know why you would want to bring a child into this world. I'm like, because the world's not like looked at as being a good place right now. And I'm
Yeah.
like, I want that to change. I'm like, we can't wait to have kids to come into this world. I want people to think this world is on the positive side. It's a good thing. Not something that people dread. It's
Mm.
like, I I want to be here for a while. I'm a Christian. Christians, I can't wait to go home. Well, I can. I want to make sure there's enough people coming with me. I'm not.
Right. Yeah.
I want to change this world. I'm not accepting that the world's heading in a dark place and there's nothing you can do about it. I think we can, and
Yes, I completely
I'm
agree
going to
with
do
you.
my best to do that.
Yeah, yeah, and with people like you, we are the change that people seek. And and I'm completely with you, children. I have a book coming out the 20th of February, a collaboration of our forgotten children, addressing all the needs that we need to change. Reason why we have lost and dysfunctional adults, we have not invested in our children in the right way. We have not brought them up and given them the services and support they need. And if we do, and we don't have such troubled adults, because we're supporting them when they're young and their growth and they become that beautiful abundance that we seek in adults. So investing in people, investing in children, investing in each other, supporting one another, that is where we need to be. It's the only place we need to be in order to heal this world. That's the importance. So I'm really happy with the work that you're doing. If anybody wants to reach out to you, please do, because it's very important that you have a conversation with him. He knows what's going on with the people that are struggling. So maybe you have a family member that you don't know how to talk to because you don't understand. Have a conversation with Stephen. Maybe you've already got an organization that's already going and you would like to align with Stephen because you like what he's doing. Have a conversation. One never knows what can come of something until you have the conversation, right?
Yeah, I'll be offering free consultations, by the way, so you can come and discuss, with me, get to know the CEO, the person that actually created the company, and maybe you'll figure out, because I believe my strategy is for everyone, business, employees, people of all ages of kind. So if you're interested in having a consultation to see how my strategy might help you, and then I can offer you my classes, and you can see whether there's anything you're interested in and we can go with there. We have 20 different various classes on different subjects in people's lives and areas of their lives, including one that's an introduction to our strategy, and they'll be on various different days of the week. So I have various options, different packages for everyone that might single class, 3 class, 5 class, that you can choose what classes you want, 10 class. Ultimately, I have 20 classes if you want that. You can pick whatever classes you're interested in. We have something for you. But do a consultation with me first.
Yes,
Check
yes,
me out. See if it's for you, and then we can go from there. But get positive, stay positive, be
yes.
positive, and most importantly, share positivity.
Absolutely. A smile goes a long way, cheer goes a long way. It is imperative that you find the joy in your life because then your cup runneth over and it has an effect on everyone around you. So do not think it is selfish investing in yourself, in learning to love yourself and be the love that everyone else seeks from you, because that is the light and the joy that you bring into the world. And the more that we each do it, the more we're going to change this world into a joyful place and not have all these issues of war and everything else out there. So
Yeah,
it's up
one
to
one
us.
note one note that I wanted to say on your cup runneth over, which I love, is like if you see someone's cup running over with positivity, don't try to clean up the spill.
No,
Put your cup underneath
lap
it.
it up.
Put the cup underneath it and fill it up.
Yes. Yes, get the straw out.
There
Yeah.
you go.
Definitely, definitely. Thank you so much for sharing with us here, Stephen. Great on you for the work that you're doing. There's a couple of people I want to introduce you to that I think might benefit your organization. And the whole thing is about the more we talk about it, the more we share, the more we care, the more the difference we're making. So come from a positive heart set, and you never know the impact you're going to have on other people. So thank you for the journey that you're taking and whom you're helping. And to everyone else out there, remember, we are the solution. Don't walk around with blinkers. Pay attention, ask questions, lead people to the right direction of where they need to go in order to get the help. We're all in this together, so we all need to participate together. So
Yeah,
until
don't be
next time,
afraid to ask for help.
don't be afraid
Don't
to
be able
ask.
to afraid to ask for guidance. Don't be able to share that you don't know. It's okay.
Exactly. And if you say, look, I don't know, but I'm willing to find out,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Nobody expects you to know everything, but if you're willing to find out, let's find out together.
Yeah.
Make it an adventure, right? Because you're going to learn something, somebody else is going to learn something. You never know if this is their pivot in life that sets them on the right path. We never
Thank you
know.
for having me.
My pleasure. Thank you very much for being here. So, folks, please remember, participate in your own life, but participate in life itself, and do it with a smile, because that smile is going to illuminate someone's day. So until next time, bye for now. We hope that you enjoyed the show. There are so many more for you here on selfdiscoverywisdom.com. Just go to the podcast tab at the top there and you will see all the many genres and all 3,000 shows ready for your listening. We are here to serve you, to help you on your journey of life, and we know that through inspiration it begets invitation. We are supported by you, the listeners, and those that we interview. Anything that you can spare us in donation would be greatly accepted, and we do hope that you enjoy the next show.